Hi, welcome to my channel. What I got here is a 7mm 7x57 rifle that had belonged to my wife's grandfather, and when he passed on, my father-in-law had got the rifle and several other rifles. And as my father-in-law got older, he decided that he had some grandchildren he would like to give these rifles to, and this ended up with my youngest son, this 7.57, this Mauser action, the old Mauser action. Now, I'm not really going to go into much detail about the Mauser action. Everybody that knows anything about rifles knows what the Mauser action is, and they're a very strong action. This is, in my last video we talked about the Craig I have, and this is the rifle that kind of put the Craig to rest as far as a military rifle. These are very strong action. They have controlled feed, and they're a very good cartridge for distance shooting, and very powerful, and one of the first rimless cartridges to be chambered in a military rifle. The basic design of the base of the cartridge had gone on to in the same the same base of it is basically the 30-06, the 308, the 243, 6mm. You can go on and on, but from this cartridge, and I believe the 8mm, came a host of different cartridges, different lengths, different, just the way they had bent or twisted the brass or created it. But this was kind of the start of it all. Now, funny thing, not really, my son shot his first deer with this rifle, and I was with him, and it was a pretty proud moment of mine. The deer had come up behind us, and he took a shot at it, and it just went right down. Very, like I said, a very powerful white-tailed deer cartridge. And I had thought about this over the years since he had done that, and he had gotten other deer, but the thing that kind of came to mind was my friend Steve, and I talk about Steve all the time. And one of these days, if he lets me, I'll put a picture of him up, but he probably won't. When I was a kid and didn't have a pot to piss in and didn't have anything as far as hunting, guns or anything, and of course everybody in my neighborhood at the time I grew up out in the country, everybody was hunters. My father, however, was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, and he really wasn't much of a hunter, didn't understand it, wasn't raised in that culture, so I kind of understand that culture difference. However, he was aware that I wanted to be with my buddies and my peers, and I think for my birthday one day he had got me a 410 shotgun. Now, at that time, I had hunted everything from squirrels to grouse to rabbits to everything with that 410 shotgun. And when it comes to deer season, I just put pumpkin balls in that 410. Of course, I'm not saying you can't kill the deer with slugs in a 410, but a kid like me might as well throw rocks. But my neighbor took pity on me, and he had moved in next door. He was just married, and I was just a young kid, just old enough to hunt, maybe 13, 14. He finally decided he'd take me hunting, and he got this old 7mm out of his gun closet, and he took me out to a gun range, and I shot the thing, and of course, just startled me to no end, just the recoil and everything. But I could hit. I think we put up a paper plate out at 75 or 100 yards, and I could hit the paper plate, so that good enough. And he had got me some hunting clothes that he thought would fit me, and he outfitted me up and drug me out in the woods, and I hunted with him for several years, and I'd got my first deer with him, and it was a pretty exciting time for me. He took me groundhog hunting. He was just one of those guys. Thank goodness that I met him, because it just gave me a whole different perspective. in life, and you know, it's just one of those things that kind of changes your direction. So don't forget that when you are around kids, and you know someone shows an interest, you can have a pretty impactful. Uh, uh, you can be impactful on a person's life if you just take the time, and he certainly did. This rifle uh, had probably came to my wife's grandfather in a military stock and the whole 9 yards. And what he had done is he had taken it. You can see it. He had bought a stock, inletted the stock, and probably did some work as far as cutting the barrel down, and other work, and you know, got it drilled and mounted by a gunsmith, and put a scope on it, and he had bedded the stock and free floated the barrel. Turned out to be quite a little shooter, and I think he really liked the rifle. This year, after many years of hiatus, I guess, just sat in my gun safe for a long time, I decided I'd get it out and take it to do a little long range shooting up in Ridgeway, where we sighted it in on the chickens and then the pigs, and then I finally decided out at 400 yards we zero it in on the turkeys and take some shots and see if we could knock some down. And of course, you know, there's no problem for this rifle at 400 yards to knock turkeys down. We knocked 3 or 4 in a row using jacketed ammunition. So I mean, these rifles are deer accurate, and they're not Eric Cortina accurate, but they're deer accurate out to 400 yards, and I've seen that for myself. So you can't discount the 757. You know, they have a good long history. I know back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, they used these guns in Africa hunting big cats, dangerous game, simply because they were very effective, and they had that, you know, controlled feed, which was, you know, very essential when you're hunting dangerous game, and very strong actions. And of course, you know, the 98 Mauser had been used and is still used today in a lot of rifles. Just a good strong action, and a lot of guys just like that type of action. Really not a hell of a lot more to say. I got some pictures of the rounds here. You can see what they look like next to the 30-40 Craig round. Of course, I had cast bullets in that, and you can see also, you know, the difference between the rim. The 30-40 Craig was a rimmed cartridge, and the 757 was a rimless cartridge. So you can see the difference there. I had shot with my wife's grandfather a few times. You know, he's quite a bit older, you know, in his 80s by the time we had gotten to know each other pretty well. And, you know, we'd go out and shoot. And he's a great old guy. I enjoyed him. You know, he was a no-nonsense generation guy. You know, everything was kind of a gruff exterior, but, you know, hey, he could laugh and he could have a good time. And, you know, I kind of liked that about him. But this was one of his rifles. It's my son's rifle now, and it's in my care until at which time, you know, my son decides to come over to my house and get it. But, you know, either way, he'll end up with the rifle, however that works out. But this is the 7x57 rifle. It's just kind of funny how it worked out that my son got his first deer with the 7mm, and I had hunted for my first deer with the 7mm. And of course, as I got older, I bought different rifles, and, you know, and the rest is kind of history. So this is it, the Mauser Action 757 7mm cartridge. It's a heck of a nice rifle, beautifully done. Hey, well, that's my video today. I appreciate you tuning in. You like and subscribe, like what you're seeing. I still got more old rifles to drag out and show you guys, so appreciate you watching my video. Thank you.